Heaven or die. I'm your host God, and on today's episode we have the vampire with a me complex, Dio Brando.
Wait, you're God?
Did I stutter?
Ha! Ridiculous! Some Lovecraftian coconut-looking thing claims to be God. Clearly this must be the work of an enemy stand.
I'm not a stand.
Let me show you what happens when you speak the Lord's name in vain!
Don't you dare.
Impossible! How could you destroy my stand? Kono Dio?
Yeah, Kono Dio da. We all know the meme, but guess what, bitch? Kono Kami da.
Nani?
Try any more funny business and you'll be sent straight to hell. This is your first and final warning.
So, you're the real deal after all.
Indeed, and if you wish to enter, you must participate in this little game. The rules are simple. We examine everything you did when you were alive and decide where to send your sorry soul afterwards. You'll be given some moments to plead your case throughout and hopefully sway judgment in your favor.
Very well. I accept your terms, God. But know this. I will stop at nothing to achieve heaven.
That's the idea. Without further ado, let's begin, starting with... When we first see Dio, his life kinda sucks. His dad's a drunk, POS, and he gets hated on for being good at chess. Talk about being behind the times. Dad's about to die, but right before.
Some rich beta male named Joestar thinks he owes me his life. Take this letter to him and he'll take you in. I'm sure you'll make his life a living hell the way you did for me.
Of course, Father. By the way, why aren't you dead yet? I could have sworn I put enough poison in your medicine to...
Give me a minute.
Finally. You were always cringe, Father.
When Dio shows up to his new home, in the most dramatic way possible, he's introduced to Jojo and his dog, Danny. Hey, what the hell is going on here?
Dio kicked the dog in the face, Father.
It was an accident, George. The poor dog unfortunately slipped into my crossing.
Well, just be more careful next time, okay?
Father!
Immediately after entering the household, Dio proceeds to assert dominance by beating the living shit out of Jojo at every opportunity and making him look like a scrub in front of his friends and family, but at least Jojo has a blooming romance with that Arena chick.
Psych!
After that, everyone starts calling Jojo a beta cup, and that's the straw that breaks the British camel's back.
Dio!
I'm beating you off right here and now, Dio.
Hey yo, phrasing, bro.
Dio cries like a little bitch and pulls out a shank, but Papa Joestar ain't about to let that happen. Dio later retaliates by...
Jojo! You dare do this to me? Me? Dio!
What in the actual hell, man?
You know, my father once told me that the only good dog is a dead dog.
7 years later and things seem fine. Jojo and Dio are getting along now, they almost seem like brothers. Papa Joestar also got strangely sick all of a sudden and he's being poisoned by Dio, isn't he? Well, Dio's dad was an awful person, so one could argue the karma card, but the Joestars, however, have been nothing but kind to Dio and welcomed him with open arms. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you, right, Dad? Oh. He's dead. Jojo catches wind of Dio's shenanigans and exposes him right when he's about to be arrested. Dio stabs Papa Joestar and...
With his blood and this mask, I can become an immortal vampire!
Why? How?
I don't fucking know, just roll with it!
A massacre occurs, flames engulfs the manor. Dio gets cremated, but being immortal and all.
I'm alive,
Then it turns into something like a vampire gauntlet. Encounter after encounter, the Johto squad emerged victorious. Wow. Just wow, my guy. We're only part 1, and you're already beyond salvation. What do you even have to say to all that? I mean, abusing and manipulating everyone around you is one thing, but burning a dog to death? Give me one good reason why I shouldn't send you straight to hell right this second.
Simple. That wasn't me.
Come again?
That was not me.
Silence.
Exactly what I said. Dio Brando is but a shell that I left behind. I abandoned that name over a century ago, and I will not be held responsible for the crimes of a fool. A fool who watched as his mother was driven to an early grave by his father. The moment I became one with Jonathan's body, I became something so much more than Dio Brando. Now, I am simply Dio.
Technically, that is less. But you actually believe what you're saying right now? You do, don't you?
Why wouldn't I?
Intriguing. Very, very intriguing, Mr. Dio. Congratulations, I'll allow you to play just a bit longer. However, I'm guessing you don't know about the events of Battle Tendency, do you?
I'm afraid I missed that one. Being trapped in a coffin at the bottom of the sea and all.
Next! With Dio discovering the power of the mask, turning into an all-powerful vampire, allowing Strider to witness this power, Strider running around now as a vampire, cause why not? Which leads to the Pillarman, which sets Joseph Joestar's search for the Red Stone of Aja into motion. It's all one big, messed up web of interconnected. Dio, any response?
Hearsay. Who really even knows what Dio Brando's actions may or may not have caused?
God?
Oh, then you must also know that fate has a strange way of making things happen. You know the old saying, that which will be.
Will be. Touché. But I'm curious to see what excuses you'll have for part 3, and I'm sure our viewers at home feel the same way. Then on that note, I bring you Stardust Crusaders. Some fishermen pull up the coffin that Dio's been sleeping in for 100 years and pop the thing open. From there, he builds an army of stand users, and let me tell you, this guy doesn't discriminate. Everything from cowboys to creepy old ladies to freaking birds and gorillas, even a little baby. Anything to stop Jotaro and the gang from reaching his hideout in Egypt. Because Dio stole Jonathan's body, Joseph, Jotaro, and his mom, Holly, all awaken to their stands. Holly's stand is literally killing her, so the squad decides to go on a big gay road trip. Dealing with threat after threat after threat until they finally make it to the big final boss, Dio. And our man is truly a menace. He stands... The world is able to completely stop time for a few seconds. Stop time. And Dio, he's got absolutely no issues with spamming the absolute shit out of it. Dio, it's time to end this once and for all. You're outnumbered and outclassed. I can't afford to die here. Not before I bang Jotaro's mom. Emerald Splash! Wait, you can't just deflect the Emerald Splash?
Looks like you're the only one left, Jotaro. Oh, you're approaching me. You know exactly where this joke is going, and you're coming right to me.
We can't shamelessly quote the meme if I don't get closer.
Ho ho! Then come as close as you'd like.
Psych! Jotaro manages to awaken a time-stopping ability of his own after an incredibly long journey, and losing 3 out of 6 of the Stardust Crusaders, Dio was finally defeated. They took his remains and left them out in the sun, making sure that this time, he stays dead. After a bittersweet victory, Jotaro, Joseph, and Polnareff all return to their normal lives. Which brings us to where we are now.
Indeed. The last thing I remember is fighting with Jotaro. In my defense, though, that entire battle was self-defense.
Really? You're going with that?
They were the ones who attacked me, after all.
But you sent an entire army of freaks to wipe them out.
Because I knew Jotaro and his little crusaders were on their way to take my life. Would you prefer I just stay in my room waiting to be annihilated?
And how do you even explain the flesh buds you put into most of your servants?
They accepted those of their own free will. All the flesh buds did was make them powerful and awaken their stands.
I thought the stand arrow awakened stands.
Right. Well, whatever.
Speaking of which, what was with that one guy whose stand was the literal freaking sun? Like, that's literally your one weakness. If he wanted to, he could have one-shot both of you. Both you and Vanilla Ice with that thing.
I know, right? What a moron. I guess it pays to have loyal buffoons like that on your payroll.
Wait, you paid them?
Of course I did. I might be a sociopath, but I'm not a monster.
Said the actual vampire.
Touché, God.
I must say though, you've been surprisingly collected through all this. Our last guest performance was, well, it was not this, let's just say that.
If I recall, I said I would stop at nothing to get into heaven. I've pleaded my case flawlessly, if I do say so myself. And we've reached the final point of my story.
I'm afraid we aren't quite finished just yet, Dio.
What?
You had no idea, did you?
Explain!
Don't tell me you thought the world would just stop spinning after you died.
Well, surely those events had little to do with me.
While that may be true for some, it's most definitely not the case for all. The next part is a bit special.
Special how?
You'll see. Follow me.
Who is that?
That would be Giorno Giovanna, aka your son.
My son? That puny, insignificant brat is my son!
Well, half-son to be more precise. You did conceive him using Jonathan's body after all, so he technically has two dads.
Oh, not bad, Giorno. That boy has potential. As to be expected of someone with my blood.
Though he'd probably find your very existence revolting to say the least.
That matters not. I'm proud. I wish I could have been there to meet him.
Only one part remains, you know. Are you ready?
Very well. What insect are we looking over now?
That will be Jotaro's daughter.
Ugh, truly insufferable.
The land of hopes and dreams, Florida. Jolene gets framed, gets locked up in prison. Jotaro's stand is stolen, putting me in a coma. Now, Jolene has to figure out how to rescue her father and escape with her life. Who's behind all this, you say? Father Enrico Pucci.
Wait a second! Who? Pucci! He's my...
Your boyfriend.
I was going to say my best friend, actually.
Yeah, sure. Jolene recruits a ragtag group of inmate stand users and breaks out of the prison. They go on to confront the rest of Theo's illegitimate sons, who were also recruited by Pucci.
Wait, I have more sons?
Yep.
Are they anything like Giorno?
Nope.
Then those insects are of no concern to me!
For once, we agree on something. Eventually, Jolene and the gang revive Jotaro, and they all team up to go and confront Pucci. Yeah, you see, he'd been scheming this whole time, trying to fulfill Dio's dream called the Heaven Plan. Both Dio and Pucci believe that the world can reach heaven if they accelerate the entire universe past the point of singularity, and it involves a weird stand baby thing that evolves like a Pokemon when the Pokemon... And... that's a wrap! Got anything to say, Dio? Dio?
To think that Pucci would still... Even after I was gone, I didn't think he would actually... That damned fool.
But in the end, he succeeded in achieving your dream, did he not?
But at what cost? What he achieved wasn't even heaven. Everything we worked for, the entire plan, it was all for nothing. Heaven was never something mere mortals could obtain to begin with, it seems.
Oh, and here I thought you became something more. than a mere human.
I was just deluding myself. This regret I'm feeling, this tightness in my chest, hearing of Giorno and Pucci, wanting to see them. It seems I wasn't able to abandon my humanity after all. Even after all this, I'm still just...
Unbelievable. Dio Brando, of all people, having a moment of self-reflection? You've exceeded my expectations. When most people come on the show, they're either too proud or too stupid to accept what they did amongst the living. But you've not only accepted it, you're even remorseful. And I can tell it's genuine. Being omniscient and all, I'm almost at a loss for words. Almost.
I see. If you are ready to cast judgment on me for my actions, I'll hold no ill will no matter what you choose. I'm a man of my word after all.
And so am I. Well, everyone, you know what time it is. Heaven or die. Dio Brando, based on everything we've reviewed on the show, you shall spend the rest of your eternity in heaven. Congratulations, Mr. Brando. You have earned the privilege of entering the pearly gates. Eternal paradise awaits you. But first,
I've finally done it. So this is heaven.
now, what would you say to becoming my co-host? Dio? Is that a yes?
Fool! After finally achieving heaven, after attaining such power, did you honestly believe I'd continue to play your childish little games?
Are we seriously doing this again?
Die! Come forth! The world over heaven!
I offer you redemption, and this is how you repay me? You wanna go, boy? Let's go.
Impossible!
This has been Heaven or Die. I'm God. Good night, everyone.